This is Home Value Stories. I'm Jamie Owen. This is a podcast that is designed to educate you, the consumer, about things related to real estate and real property valuation. Have you ever heard of a mortgage company that uses artificial intelligence? How is it being used, and how might it benefit potential borrowers? Stay tuned. Today, if you called a phone a push button phone, younger people might wonder why you're referring to a phone as a push button phone. After all, aren't all phones push button phones these days? Well, yes. In fact, many are just touch screens. But at one time, rotary phones were all we had. We would put our finger in the hole of the corresponding number and spin the dial around, and we had to do that for every number. Well, you get the idea. It took a while. That's how calls were dialed. That is until 1963. On November 18th, 1963, the Bell Company released the first push-button phone. Now, as the name implies, instead of whirling a dial around for each number, a person could simply push the buttons on the phone number they were calling. Just a year earlier, in 1962, the cartoon show The Jetsons aired. It was a show about a family in the future, and there were a lot of buttons and automated things happening in that show. Perhaps George Jetson's frantically pushing all of those computer buttons inspired the push-button phone. Who knows? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google The Jetsons. The push-button phone opened the way for accessing computers remotely, with menus that one could move through with the touch of a button. It really revolutionized the way we use phones today. Flash forward to 2022, and now our phones access computers on a level that was mere science fiction not that long ago. In fact, our phones are so powerful, they're more powerful than some computers. And of course, computers have become so advanced that we may not at first realize that we're even talking to one. Speaking of that, one of the key characters in the show Meet the Jetsons was Rosie the robot. She was a robot maid, but she had a human personality. In fact, she even had a little Brooklyn accent, which I found to be very charming, especially when she referred to George Jetson as Mr. J. Rosie the robot was the first robot that I can remember as a child that had more human features, including a human voice. That was a newer concept when the show hit the air back in the 1960s. But now, interacting with a computer or robot that has a human characteristic is no longer science fiction. I recently sat down with Pavan Agarwal, the CEO of SunWest Mortgage. We talked about what's happening in the housing market, but we also talked about a really cool new tool, a new technology that is going to revolutionize the way people can obtain a mortgage. Pavan, welcome to the show. It's so good to have you here today.
Hey, Jamie, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. So tell me a little bit about your company and how you got into the mortgage business.
Yeah, well, I grew up in the mortgage business. My father started the company in 1980. Before that, he was a successful real estate broker. And, I was in a sales meeting today with our entire sales team. And, people are a little stressed out right now because interest rates are hitting about 6-7%. And I told them, I said, in 1980, it was 19%.
Yes.
And we started at that. It was probably the worst real estate market ever. And we grew and we thrived, right? And we innovated, right? So even at 19%, real estate was still moving. People are still buying homes. Right? You always need a place to live. And buying is always better than renting. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's such a good reminder. It's so easy to forget, that the world is not ending, mortgage wise, this is, it's not as good as it was, but it's a lot better than it's been in the past. So
yeah, it's not, it's not, the refis are largely gone. I mean, there's still cash out activity happening, which I think with home prices that I'm seeing are starting to fall, like especially in Southern California and the Inland Empire, roughly 10% off now. Days on market has gone up to like 60, 90 days. So, and I think it's going to get worse. I mean, I think Goldman Sachs put out a analyst outlook a few weeks ago, talking about a 35% decline next year in home prices. So, which is, at the end of the day, that actually could be a good thing for the market. A correction was long overdue. And if you think about it, home prices went up 40% plus in 2 years, right? And a 35% decline, it was kind of put us back to pre-COVID levels.
Absolutely.
And rationalize everything again, right? So, and back to home prices that are affordable. Because incomes haven't gone up at the same rate as home prices have. So the correction had to come.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time, and just a little bit of pain that we may go through now could result in a much healthier market down the road.
Yeah. And I think, Chairman Powell's strategy is to strip the bandage off, get the pain done all at once, as opposed to prolong it. And that takes a lot of political courage and personal courage to do what he's doing.
We've had such a long run. I mean, it's been an amazing run in the housing industries. So it's definitely time for a correction. Yeah. So with mortgages, what kind of mortgage do you specialize in? A particular kind of mortgage at your company, or?
Well, I would say it's all of the above. What we don't do is super jumbo.
Okay.
We do a little bit of it. It's not a lot of liquidity for super jumbo, especially now. Liquidity is tightening up everywhere. But we do, government, all the kind of government loans, USDA, VA, all the agency, non-QM, jumbo. So, and we've been doing all of these different kinds of products since the 80s. And, stated income was a big deal, like in, 2000, right? You look too young to remember those days.
Believe it or not, oh, bless your heart, but I was there.
Yeah. So back in 89, 90s, City Mortgage had a stated income product. And then you had the California real estate bust, and then City Mortgage started putting back those stated income loans to everyone that did them. Okay, and we did a few, and we had to go defensive repurchases with City. That was, now it's like 30 years ago. And ever since then, we swore we would never do a stated income again, right? And that's the reason we got through, the 2000s, fairly unscathed, because we stayed away from stated income, and everyone got crushed on the putbacks. So, because it's so easy to put stated income loans back, it's easy to, your income's off by $1, right? It's a putback.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so it's, we have the virtue of experience as the best teacher, and we've seen it all, and that makes us good at all different kinds of loan programs. And it also gives us the training data and the rule set for, what you see behind me here, our flagship AI product with Morgan, and it's got that 40 years of rules in it, and that understanding, and it knows pretty much every product in the industry, including reverse mortgages, which I really, right now is a great time to be for the loan originators and realtors listening to this right now. really should be thinking about reverse mortgages.
What's the reason? Is there a particular reason that just equity that people have?
Yes. This is kind of like a Goldilocks time for seniors to get a reverse mortgage, where we're seeing home values cresting, with analysts talking about, like I just said earlier, that home values will be dropping next year. So get it now before the window closes. I mean, it's a race. Do it as fast as you can. And because reverse mortgage is entirely equity based, right?
Yes.
The more equity you have, the more money you get. And second is seniors, and seniors particularly have felt the pinch from this inflationary market. So the additional cash flow that reverse mortgage will get them could be a godsend right now. And that's the whole reason the government created the program, is to help seniors connect the dots and pay the bills.
Definitely. That's fascinating. I had not thought about reverse mortgages and this being the optimal time, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And the window is closing, because if home prices do drop 35%, right, then there goes your window of potential cash out that you can get towards you can get a reverse mortgage as lump sum up front, right? Or you get a certain amount lump sum up front, or you can get it as a fixed monthly payment, right, like an annuity for the rest of your life, or for a certain amount of time period in your life. And that's literally, your house could be paying you every month, right? And with an extra, $400, $1,000 a month, whatever, depending on how much equity you have, steady income for the next 10 years. I mean, that could be life-changing for many seniors.
Absolutely. What's, just out of curiosity, what's more popular, to take everything out at once or to go with the monthly payment?
Most people have a mortgage that they have to pay off, right? So what happens is it's a combination of, okay, you do the reverse mortgage and you pay off the mortgage that you currently have. So that increases your cash flow because that mortgage payment goes away, right?
Makes sense.
So that's the same as getting money every month, net in a cash flow perspective. Second is you can set these things up where money for your future taxes and insurance is set aside as well in them, so you don't have to even worry about your tax insurance payments for the next so many years. And then after that, then what's left over is usually people would want to take that as cash, but there's some restrictions. In the old days, when doing a lot of these reverses in 2006, 2004, you were able to take everything out as cash. Now had changed the rules, so you can only take a portion cash, and the rest you have to take out over time. But it's still a great deal for seniors. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With inflation the way it is, it makes a lot of sense to do that. Mm-hmm. In addition to reverse mortgages, what have you seen a shift in the type of demand you're getting for like FHA versus conventional loans over the past few months?
Actually, this whole year we're seeing a greater shift towards FHA loans, because as incomes get tighter and rates get higher, right? So simply the ratios are too high to qualify for conventional. And then we've seen inversion where interest rates on FHA loans are actually lower than conventional loans. So it makes more economic sense to go FHA loans, right? So instead of putting 20% down, tying up all that cash, and getting an interest rate that's about the same or maybe a little higher than an FHA loan, now you only have to put up 3.5% and get a good interest rate. So why wouldn't you keep the cash, right, and go FHA?
One thing I wanted to talk to you about too is this, and you referenced it just a little bit ago, is the AI that you're using, and it sounds so amazing. Could you tell us a little bit about how that works, what it is, and how people can benefit from it?
Well, I mean, the first thing you can do from it is you can get one of these really cool t-shirts.
That is a cool t-shirt.
Right. And a t-shirt is, the clothes are good if the model is ugly, but it still looks good. Right. So if you go to usemorgan.com and you just have a conversation, you talk to the AI, it's very easy to talk to. You go in, it'll say hello, and you ask your name, give your name, right? Just like you asked me for my name in the beginning of this conversation. This is like talking to a human, and you can literally just go on there and you can say, "Yeah, I want a free T-shirt," and it'll ask you for a few pieces of information, and you'll get a T-shirt in the mail in a couple of days.
Wow, that's pretty cool in itself.
Yes, so we're doing a T-shirt giveaway, so it's open to pretty much everyone in America.
Yeah. Where do you go again? You said it once, but
I'm going to stand up here. I'm going to go to usemorgan.com.
Usemorgan.com. Got it.
Very
cool. Very cool. All right. Can't miss it.
Yeah. Usemorgan.com. And you'll see a little ballerina come up. You hit engage and you just start talking. It's just like using SMS or WhatsApp or Signal or whatever. But instead of talking to another person, you're talking to an AI on the other side. And you just talk. It's not like, with Siri and Alexa, you got to say it exactly right for them to understand.
Yes.
What you want. And sometimes you have to say it again in different ways until they get it. Right. With Morgan, you just say it and it gets it. Yeah.
So it sounds like it's easy to use. It's not frustrating, like some of the other tech out there.
Yeah. Because the way I describe Siri and Alexa is it's a voicemail on steroids, right? Voicemail systems, right? You know how frustrating they get after a while. Like, I want to talk to a real person. Well, in this, you don't get that feeling. You're talking to. You feel like you're talking to a real person because the secret is that there is a real person that's guiding the AI in real time.
Very cool.
So the AI is listening, is making suggestions, and every time, and there's an army of real people that guide and direct it. So every time they correct course, the AI gets smarter and smarter. So we need more and more people using it, the smarter it gets, and the better it'll get. So it's like I use an Uber analogy, right? Until cars are, Uber is an app, it's a technology, but there's still a human driver driving the car, right? And maybe one day when cars are fully self-driving, there won't be a human driver. Okay, but until then, right, there's still a human driver.
Yeah.
Right? And cars get smarter and smarter, and the human drivers do less and less. But you still need their hands on the wheel so you don't crash.
Yes.
Same thing when you're doing a financial transaction and your financial life is on the line, you definitely don't want to crash that car.
Definitely not. That's a big decision. Is there a point? Well, there must be a point in the process where an applicant will talk to somebody like in person, and is that like qualifying, or how does that work?
Yes. Okay. So one fine, legal disclaimer here, fine print that the attorneys require me to say, is today the app is not consumer. It's not for consumers.
Okay.
It is for licensed professionals. And once all the compliance issues are worked out and some additional features are added, we're hoping in the next 30 days, 45 tops, the consumer version will be available.
Nice.
So consumers will be going and talk to it and take an application online. Now, to answer your question, so if you're a consumer and you're working on the app, and you just get to a point where you really need a loan officer. You really need to talk to that Uber driver sometimes,
Yes.
Okay, so how that works is what we call, and I kind of see, I just lean back here, you can see this empathetic technology.
Yeah.
So the AI it senses your needs. and it senses your aggravation or anxiety, and it ought, or even you have no anxiety or aggravation, but you ask a question like, can I get a better rate if I put more down payment? For example, that's AI could probably handle that question, but let's just say it can. Then that now becomes in the realm of licensed activity, and you require a licensed individual. So the AI will automatically message and loop in a licensed loan officer into the conversation. That person will get added into the conversation, and you'll see, Joe, the loan officer, is now in the conversation. So now you're having a three-way conversation: is you, the AI, and Joe, the loan officer. How cool is that?
That really is cool.
Yeah. Okay. And Joe, the loan officer, can say, hey, I think maybe you ask Joe a question about the property he's buying, right? Is it a 2-car garage or a 3-car garage? Who knows? Joe, the loan officer can say, yeah, I think I need Sally, the realtor, on this. And and either the AI or Joe can detect that the realtor is necessary on this conversation, and the realtor get looped in. So the realtor will receive a text message saying, hey, we need you on this conversation, with a link, and he clicks it, and he's in the conversation. And it's that simple.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so it's instant gratification. You get your answers immediately, and of course the AI doesn't sleep. So you as a consumer can get 99.9% of your answers 24/7.
That is so impressive. I have not heard of this before. You must have the first company that's offered such a thing, I believe.
Yes, we're way ahead. And this technology has been years in development. I've got some really great minds on it. It's a worldwide effort. The lead engineers are here in Puerto Rico, really smart guys. I would even dare say that the engineers in Puerto Rico are smarter than the engineers in Silicon Valley.
Wouldn't surprise me.
A lot of great engineers in Silicon Valley get recruited out of Puerto Rico.
Interesting.
It's like a number one, UPR is a number one recruiting ground. So I shouldn't have said that. Let's secret out now.
Oh no, we'll edit that part if you want. That is really cool. And with the empathetic technology, is that like a term that you came up with? I love the idea of it.
No, it's actually the concept's been around for a while.
Okay.
And if you Google it, there's been there's been some academic papers over the years on it. But no one's really figured out any good, real practical applications. I think there's one academic paper about the AI sensing if you're feeling cold or hot and adjusting the thermostat accordingly. That's academic. It's interesting, but I don't know how valuable that is, right? Is a good proof of concept about computer sensing your emotional needs, right? But what is really interesting about the concept is a computer, a piece of metal that has no feeling, does a better job in figuring out how you feel than a human, because it has none of its own emotions to interfere with its perception.
So it's not judging in some weird way, or based on its life and experiences. It's just what it's been trained to do.
Exactly, right. And being in lending and mortgages, that's extremely important, because our mission is fair lending. We say SunWest is the home of fair lending. And you have to be able to sense and adapt to every client's needs equally, and to deliver true fair lending and true fair housing, you have to deliver the same high level of service across the spectrum, from whether it's 500 credit score or 800 credit score. Whether you're disabled veteran with 0% down, or you're, a wealthy businessman in Newport Beach buying a multi-million-dollar mansion. Right? You should get the same level of service, same great rates. Right? Obviously, rates change by product, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And you should get the same, more importantly, the same level of respect. Right?
Absolutely.
And if you have technology that's focused on empathy, that's focused on respect, and is sensing that, it's making sure that that is delivered, then you have true fair lending.
That is fascinating. I had never considered that.
And
that
it
benefits the consumer.
Yes, it benefits the consumer, and it increases accessibility. Because, let's face it, the real reason you don't have equal housing or equal access to lending products is in the underserved communities, most loans are more complex.
Yeah.
Those financial circumstances are much more complex. They're smaller loan amounts, which means less revenue, but increasingly complex financial circumstances. Right. So it takes a higher level of expertise to do those loans. So you have less people going after those loans, because less trained underwriters, less trained loan officers, right? Less trained companies that can do those loans. That results in lower competition and worse pricing. Okay. But so the solution to that is technology. Right? So if you have a technology that delivers equal service and experience and takes the human burden, removes the human burden off the process, then whether you're in the inner city or whether you're on multi-million-dollar oceanfront property, you're getting the exact same experience and the exact same access.
That is really cool. And I can see how that could benefit, society in general, that kind of service. Yeah. And we're living in a time where that's we've seen some ugly things happen. And so it's nice that this technology may help with that a little bit on the lending side. So
that's, we believe it does. We believe we've proven that it does. And I have the data to prove that it actually, delivers equal closing rates, equal access. Plus, the way the technology is set up is it speaks multiple languages, so you can talk to it in the language of your choice.
How many languages does it offer right now?
A couple hundred.
Wow.
If you have the appropriate keyboard installed, if the language is a different script, if you have the appropriate keyboard installed, it'll switch to that automatically.
That's amazing. That's just mind blowing. I am so impressed.
Yeah. So I mean, to get access to an underserved community, you have to be able to speak that language.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that makes language is everything, right? It's culture. It makes you comfortable. It
And I wish I spoke more than one language. I regret not learning a second language, to be honest with you, for that very reason. It honors people, and then you can really help them instead of struggling to try to understand what they need. And so that is cool. And so it sounds like you probably have other languages you're slowly integrating as you're able to, or
yeah. I mean, we hit all the major languages in the U.S. Commonly found.
You've got this in place, and it's getting ready to go live with the public as far as being able to help them directly. So what's next on your radar? Is there, what's the next step? Do you have, or are you allowed to say, or?
No. I mean, there's a lot going on. Like this week on Monday, we announced that, the way a loan process works, I know you know this, but for the audience who is not in the loan business, is you apply, it goes through some kind of a processing step, and then it gets underwritten, and then the underwriter has these conditions, and then a loan officer calls you and says, hey, I need your bank statements from 2 months ago, or I need this W-2 or this tax return or whatever. And you submit that to the loan officer, and then you wait another day or two, and then you might get some more questions, right? And that's the most frustrating and difficult part of the loan process.
Yeah.
So what we announced on Monday, the AI has been upgraded to where if you delivered it a document on one of the underwriting conditions, it will review, process, and give you an answer back in under 60 minutes.
That's fast.
Yeah, it's very fast. And any document, any condition. So it's been months and months in the works to test. You can imagine how much testing we have to do. And the other thing is that when the AI says this is final, this is my answer, you stand behind it. So SunWest reps and warrants that if the AI messed up, okay, and it gave you an instruction that we accept this document and you shouldn't have, okay, we will stand behind it. We'll still proceed forward. Right? And that's the other part that creates anxiety in the loan process is you'll submit documents, you'll get an answer from a human underwriter, and that answer may not be final because maybe you have to go through a second level review, maybe you have to go through some quality control step, maybe this, maybe that. And anyone who's been in the loan business long enough knows that there's been too many times where you get all the way to closing and then somebody raises, somebody in the credit team raises a question that wasn't raised before and say, oops, now I got to figure this. And so, most loan officers and realtors are usually biting the nails, right, until the loan's closed, right? That's the biggest source of anxiety. They just pray that, okay, it goes through, and then the next deal starts all over again, right? So a professional loan officer is really a professional stress manager.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So the main thing that the technology does is eliminates the stress, because once you give certainty and transparency, then the stress is gone, right? And if you put a document in and within an hour you know that it's final, right? Your stress is gone. And then the goal is in the next couple of months is going to be within minutes. Okay, it's going to get that fast, right? Because we used to be, before October 1st, we used to be 2 hours. That was our guarantee. So we upgraded the technology to now it's 1 hour. And in the next couple of months, it'll be literally in minutes.
That's amazing.
So when it's that fast, right, then it's that, and it's that fast, and it's reliable, but more importantly to you as a customer, there's a warranty of its reliability. So for our perspective, from SunWest perspective, reliability is important because we'll be writing a lot of checks. We're taking a lot of losses, right? So it has to be right, but from your perspective, you have the warranty that it is right. So you don't have to think twice about, okay, it told me this, and maybe it's wrong, maybe it shouldn't be that, and so the goal is in the next couple of months, the review of any single condition will be done in minutes, and the review of a whole loan file will be done in under 2 hours. Right now it's done in a few hours, but we guarantee, like right now we're sitting at it's 5 o'clock Eastern. And what we say is if we were taking a loan application right now, so if I was your loan officer taking your loan application, and this was point of sale, I could take your loan application, I could drop it in the machine. And we guarantee no later than 8 a.m. tomorrow that the loan will be fully and thoroughly reviewed and underwritten and final conditions issued. Okay, so that guarantee will be shrunk by the end of the year, hopefully, to 2 hours.
Man, that's incredible.
Yeah, because what even 8 a.m. is really amazing because everywhere else, after you and I take a loan application, then it goes to a processor who then sets everything up, orders verifications, does this, does that. And that takes another 3-4 days. And then they go to an underwriter, right? And then the underwriter takes, 2 days, 3 days, right? So by the time you have an answer as to whether the loan is approved and what are the final documents you need, it could be as much as a week, right? And you want to buy a house,
Yeah.
right? Let's say you want to buy $1 million house and you've just put an escrow deposit of $10,000 or whatever, and you're buying your nails for a week saying, I don't want to lose my escrow deposit. I don't want to lose this house, right? 1 week of mystery could be compressed to maybe an overnight of mystery, right? And pretty soon it'll be 2 hours of mystery. And we're not going to stop for 2 hours. Once we're done, once we meet that 2-hour goal, I'm going to keep pushing until we get that down to minutes as well.
Saves people money, and even when buying a home, keeps them from losing out if something were to stall in the process.
Exactly. And truly, then buying a home, getting a mortgage truly becomes an instant internet transaction. It'd be like buying something on Amazon.
Everything's getting that way.
Yeah, it literally be like running a credit card through. Right? When you run your credit card through, you don't think about, "Ooh, I hope I get approved for this purchase," right? You just assume it's going to work.
Yes.
Right. And the transaction gets processed in seconds, right? Well, our goal is ultimately the loan process, mortgage loan process will be that quick one day.
And I'm sure that's music to most people's ears, because it is such a process.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips if someone wanted to get pre-approved? They're looking for a home, they need to get pre-approved, for a mortgage. Any tips for buyers out there? I know things are slowing down in the market right now, but people still are buying homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, people, you're right. People are still buying homes. Is this first question is, should I wait? Should I not wait? That's, if you're renting, you should be thinking about, if you wait, 12 months, you're paying $2,000 a month in rent. You just burn $24,000.
Yeah.
And so if you're thinking of buying a $200,000 house, you just burn 24 points. Right. So so home values drop 24 points. Right. You guarantee to lose 24 points over 12 months. Right. Oh, sorry, I did the math wrong. 10 points. Sorry. No, over 10 points. So you're guaranteed to lose 10 points over 12 months, right? Or you could buy it now and take a chance that maybe home values will drop 10. Right? But if you believe Goldman Sachs's analysis that home values will drop 35 points,
you got to be in for the long term.
Yeah, right. That is true. And actually, I'll make a comment about that. And personally, my father and I, we own a lot of real estate. Being in the real estate business, so since the 70s, we've been buying real estate, and I can say that every time I or my family has sold real estate, has been a mistake. It seemed like a good trade to sell it at that moment, but in the long run, it's been a mistake.
Better off collecting the rent.
Better off collecting the rent. Better off holding just based on home prices. Don't worry about the dips. Just keep on going. Because it always, if you look at it right now, where we were, let's say we were in 2018 before the pandemic, and we had fully recovered well past the peaks of 2006 before the last crash, right? And then this upcoming correction, if Goldman is right at 35% correction, it's only going to take us still to a level that was higher than pre-pandemic.
Right.
Yeah. So, what's the real concern here, right? So if you are renting, you're burning the money. If you're buying a home, yes, your home value may drop, but you're still saving the rent. So
and paying down the equity.
Yeah. If you hold on long enough, your home values are going to keep going up. The only time home values have gone down and gone to zero will be like 3 Mile Island, right? So
right, yeah, we can't give it away then. Right.
Right. So I guess the lesson here is don't buy a house next to a nuclear power plant, but otherwise you're good.
Words to live by. Well, I sure appreciate talking shop with you. This is exciting news. It's clear that you've been ahead of the game, even since the mortgage meltdown of the 2008, just by using good fundamental business strategy. And I appreciate your cutting edge technology now. It's so exciting to see where that's going to go.
Yeah. Well, try it out for yourself. It's there for you for everyone to use, and get your T-shirt and ask it questions, ask us loan scenarios. If you're a realtor or loan officer, and you can even throw in some it's all secure. You can throw in some documents and have a calculated income for you, and see what it does. There are some competitors out there, wannabe competitors that are trying to do something very similar, but their underwriting engine really only works for the most simplest, perfect situations. The guy with the 2 years of W-2 income, 20% in the bank, and a 780 credit score, then it works, right? And again, that's not fair lending.
No.
Right? If you want to be able to deliver the same fast service turn time and the same level of respect to that guy with a 780 credit score and 20% in the bank as a single mom with a disabled kid and 580 credit score or whatever, because she's got medical bills and this and that. But for both of them, for both families, right, they're not going to lose their house because the house means everything to them.
Absolutely.
And that's why one of our philanthropic projects is we support an organization called TACA, which is the supports that TACA supports families living with autism. And it's 3% of the country's population now. 3% of the kids are affected by autism. I think recent numbers from CDC came up to even 4% now. So it's a significant minority now.
It sure is.
And people don't think about it. We think about minorities from ethnicity and things like that perspective. But here's a minority that gets passed by, that doesn't get looked at. Politicians don't talk about, but they really don't get treated fairly in society because they have all of this other pressure on them, and they're still their financial needs are still looked at the same lens as somebody who's not living with disabilities.
Mm.
And the credit score doesn't tell the whole story in that case. And that's one of the reasons we got involved with them. We're part of what I'm trying to use this as a plug for TACA, because I think there's with the with the large percentage of people out there, I'm sure plenty of your listeners either are living with autism or learning disabilities, or know someone who's living with that. So definitely check out TACA.org, TACA.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, and it seems to be growing, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes.
Just the times we're living in. I appreciate all of your hard work and making things easier for us as consumers to be able to get a mortgage and to benefit and to do it in such a fair way. That is awesome.
Yeah.
And I wish you the very best in your future endeavors and with this empathetic technology, which is so cool. And I'm impressed by SunWest, your stand-up company, and we certainly appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Take care.
Bye.
Times are truly changing. SunWest Mortgage is really leading the way with technology and the way that it uses it for its business. And it benefits people. I thought it was interesting to learn about how their technology can help with fair housing, making good customer service consistent for all potential borrowers. And isn't that the way it should be anyway? Technology is also changing the way I complete appraisals, and it's probably changing the way you perform your work as well. In some cases, robots have replaced humans already. That goes without saying. One thing is for sure, robots and artificial intelligence are here, and things are changing quickly. While it can be tiring to keep up with all of it, many of the technologies out there can help us to complete our work more efficiently and provide better customer service for our clients. And that's certainly the case with SunWest Mortgage and their AI. A special thanks to Pavan Argawal with SunWest Mortgage for joining me today. If you'd like to learn more about his company and experience their empathetic technology for yourself, go to hellomorgan.com or usemorgan.com. That's USCMORGAN.com and try it out for yourself. Speaking about cool technology, I wanted to speak with you for a moment about some cool technology that I'm using as an appraiser and that you might have some use for as well. It's called Kubicasa. Now, I want to let you know they are not a sponsor of this show, but they do compensate me to talk to folks like you about this awesome technology. So I thought I would use this opportunity on my show to let you know about them. With just the use of your cell phone, you can measure a home and you can create beautiful custom floor plans. The floor plans are free. I kid you not. The floor plans are free. And if you want to know the square footage of the home that you've scanned using their software, there's a $15 fee for that. But that's a bargain for what you get. So if you're a realtor, an appraiser, a photographer, or someone else who needs to generate professional floor plans, check them out at kubicasa.com. In the meantime,
may all your stories be happy ones.
Oops, let me try that again. May all your stories be happy ones.